Combination of romance, heartbreak, and hope is at the doorstep of today's episode. The lives of two teenagers jump through time and space almost literally as they switch bodies. From two completely different backgrounds, a rural mountain town in Tokyo, Taki and Mitsuha start to learn about one another by being one another. And with that, they begin to develop the thought of, are they truly connected? With the ultimate journey of finding each other in person, we do a discussion of sorts on the 2016 anime romantic tale, Your Name. This is a Comic Talkers production, and you are listening to a If We See Each Other, We'll Know edition of Just for Flicks. What's going on, guys? It's your boy, Patty B. With me, wait, with me, as always, is Mr. B Dog, Mr. Brandon. How we doing?
What the fuck? Did you always forget my name? God damn.
No, I didn't. I thought that what's going on? I kind of
You're like,
regret it.
oh,
I was
hold
gonna
on.
restart, but we're just gonna roll with it.
I am doing fantastic. I am wonderful. We're going to talk about a movie I like, but we could not do this alone. I want to welcome back to the podcast a good friend of mine. You listen to him on Comic Talkers and Anime Talkers with us. Please welcome back to the podcast, Ty. Ty, how are you doing?
What's up? I'm good.
All right. And we're going to be going over the movie Your Name. Now, I'm going to start this conversation off with kind of a good point to bring up. Ty and I have seen this movie. Patrick, this was your first time watching this. What
Yeah.
was your take on it when you watched it?
Well, I think the movie itself had a lot of layers to it. The concept of two people taking over each other's body. It seems to be a common plot. I mean, not common plot, but like you've seen it in other renditions of things. Not this extreme.
Freaky Friday.
That's the first thing that came to my mind
Yeah.
too. But I think the way they were able to capture, especially the links within the links within their relationship was pretty cool. Like, I mean, that's explained throughout the whole movie and everything. The newer looking graphics set a more modern feel to the movie for me. That's another thing I kind of took away from it, just from watching. We've watched a few anime movies, or we've talked about a few anime movies on the show, but you know me not watching anime movies as much as you guys. That's one thing that stood out to me. I myself, when it comes to anime, I'm very
Newbie. Noobish.
well, yeah, well, obviously.
Fresh.
Obviously, but I'm used to seeing the clear, like vibrant, more sharper illustrations, like Kira. I mean, Kira is like a perfect example of that. Just all the different colors and the contrast and shit. But yeah, I don't know. Those are the couple takeaways I had from it. I just the story's it's one of those, and we talked about it off air, Brandon. It's definitely one of those movies I'm gonna watch more, I think, and probably learn something from it each time I watch it. Which I mean, that's the beautiful thing about movies.
And that's the thing, like, for us, like I watched this when it first came out and was talked about because, and it's kind of lead to my first question for the podcast here, is this movie was it was so good that the fact too that the Academy did not nominate this for Best Animated Feature.
I know.
The year it would have been nominated, I believe it was Zootopia that won that year. What's your guys' take if this movie should this movie one have been nominated? And two, do you feel that this movie should have won Best Animated Feature?
Do you have a list by chance of the movies that were on?
He
Just
does. He
it
does.
is a little tough list, but when you really listen to it, there's two movies that I go, okay, that easily could have beat it
I mean,
out.
because that's what it comes down to, right? Is like, and that's like any award show. It comes down to what's been out, what's been released, and it's competition, right? So it's all depends on what year it is, and like what you have to go up against. I mean, you've seen that just in general with how many great movies should have probably gotten an Oscar and didn't get an Oscar because they were put up against something else. You know, like I think 1997 is a great just Oscar. Remember, I don't know if you've with Good Will Hunting, all the movies that were released in that time, Titanic, all that stuff. But
So that's what I said. So here's the five movies that were nominated that year. It was so the movie was released in 2016. It would have been nominated in 2017. Zootopia,
Pretty
Kubo
good.
and the Two Strings, Moana,
Make way.
My Life as a Zucchini, and The Red Turtle. There's two movies right there that I would have went. Your name should have been up there. That's My Life as a Zucchini and The Red Turtle. This one could have easily been up there.
Have you watched the Red? I haven't watched. I've only seen Zootopia and Moana, so I've never
I've
heard of
seen
it.
I've seen the two string ones, and I think I talked with Ty off air about that one, Kubo and the Two Strings.
Yeah.
It's good. It deserved the nomination. It did not deserve to win. It
Is
was
that what
no Zootopia is the one that won that year.
Zootopia is pretty good?
It is a good movie. That's why I said, but it was up against Moana. It was up against, as I said, Your Name to me would have been up there for me. And I do feel if it was my pick out of all of them, it would have been Moana or Your Name up there. That would have won. Because I feel like Moana is better with the visuals and everything more than Zootopia is.
Zootopia is not even a Pixar movie, is what's crazy.
None of those two were Pixar films.
I know it's just crazy to think like those are actual it's crazy to think that both of those movies came out 8 years ago, 9 years ago.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah,
Your Name.
9 years ago.
Guy, what's your take on that? Do you feel it should have won Best Picture and nominated for the most part?
Well, I kind of agree with you, either Moana or Your Name, because like I seen Zootopia once. I thought it was good, but I didn't think it was like over the top one of the best movies of my life.
Mhm.
Like when I see movies like Your Name, I was like, it was such a refreshing to have like that to come out the anime community. It felt like it was like one of the best I haven't seen in a long time, you know. While in here in America, we always have like animation movies, you know, animated movies and stuff like that. So you know, like if it was like Shrek is a different story. That was like top tier right there. But like Zootopia is pretty decent. I think it's more, you know, aimed for the kids, while like Your Name is like it's not really for the kids. You know, it's something you gotta like pay attention, see what's happening.
Right.
I think that's why they kind of won, because it kind of won over more the like, younger audience.
Yeah. Well, mind you, and this is what I was thinking too. This movie still won a whole bunch of awards going into it and was nominated. One of the big ones was Los Angeles Film Critics Association
Yeah,
Awards.
I saw that too, and that was in 2016, right?
Yeah, yes, that would have been 2016, and
Yeah.
the rest of them came in like 2017. They were put up for a lot of awards, including awards of the Japanese Academy won some, but mind you too, and I think it stands out from this because there's a lot of points of this film that stood out. When you really look at this movie, this is actually the first anime film outside Studio Ghibli or Hayao Miyazaki to ever gross like 10 billion yen in the Japanese box office.
Goodness.
The only one of the only ones to do it. And it's actually considered the second highest grossing anime film to ever be done. Ty, do you want to take a shot? Which one the first one is or number one is?
Is it around 2016 or right now?
It is what it is right now. And
Demon Slayer?
it was Demon Slayer, the Manugi train arc. Which, Pat, if you have not seen, I would highly recommend.
Well, he will have to watch the series.
Yeah, that's the only thing.
You can't just be like, oh, you haven't seen it, Pat. You gotta watch it, but you gotta watch
the anime. I would recommend Pat right away. This is this group right here. This is a fun show. And Taylor would love watching.
I'm gonna give it see. I'm gonna look at some other stuff, but I did do that free trial of the Crunchyroll.
There you go.
So fans probably know about that if they're tuning into this one. But I like it. I kind of looked through a lot of different stuff, and I actually want to bring up something. I caught it with this movie in particular. It came up as a TV show. Was it supposed to be a TV show at one point?
That's Ty. Do you know anything about that? Because I thought that too when I saw that at one point. One released it like as episode.
Yeah, and then I got confused because it didn't come up as a movie, and then I was like, well, I'll just click on the TV show, and then it's like one episode, and then it's the duration of the whole movie. I'm like, well, that's kind of weird. But
I don't think so.
what I was gonna say is there's certain undertones in the movie where it feels kind of like a show.
I know what you're talking about. A lot of whatever you're watching it on does that, where it says like one episode, but it turned out to be just a movie.
Yeah, it's just the whole movie. It said like an
Yeah,
hour and 45 minutes or
yeah,
whatever. I think it's
it's
about
probably
what
it's
the
probably
movie
just
is.
a mistake, you know.
Yeah, yeah. It threw me off though because I was like, they did a TV show?
That's why I was curious to see because now we've asked that because I put my opinion out there. I know Ty has kind of put his opinion up there too. What's your take, Pat? Do you think this was snubbed at the
I
Oscars?
mean, kind of looking back on it, because it wasn't even nominated,
It
right?
was not nominated.
Yeah, that's kind of it. Definitely should have at least been nominated. I mean, I can just tell by, and I'm not even probably gonna watch these movies, but I could just tell from the titles of those other movies that weren't Zootopia or Moana. It just sounds like one of them could have been replaced with your name. As meaning that as in they probably weren't good enough. I don't know. I'm not saying they weren't good movies. That's subjectable, right?
Well, like
I
Kubo
had
Strings, okay, that it's a good film to be nominated. But it was I would never ever have that win an award. There's no way. Your
I
name
mean, it
should have.
was good.
Yeah, it was a good movie. It deserved the nomination, but it just didn't. It's like there are movies every year that deserve a nomination but don't deserve to win. Like when you really look at movies like that, that's why I said there are a lot of movies like that. That's like, okay, you're up there, but do you deserve to win it? Kind of thing.
yeah.
It's still an honor to just be nominated for something like this. And this, to me, we talk about it. There's only really been two anime films that's ever won Best Animated Feature. One of them Spirited Away, and the other one's The Boy and the Heron. Of course, both Ghibli films. And this one made waves, and it's like we said, it's outside Ghibli, and it did not win. That's what, or even get nominated. I think that would have been huge for that
Hmm.
to be nominated because it would have shown Ghibli's not the only one around.
Not the only one that can do it. And I think they might have done a disservice because I was even looking on when we were doing the research and planning out for this movie. I mean 98% on Rotten Tomatoes. I think that speaks volumes. I
Well,
think
well, you're
did any
talking
of those
about the company that says DC comic films are too dark. It's like, well, you ever read DC comics? Like, it's always
I don't think that's what they mean by it's too dark. I
no.
mean, I can't see shit.
but they tend to be relatively accurate when it comes to other. I mean, maybe not. I don't know, man. There's a lot of movies are pretty consistent as far as the rating goes. There's other stuff that I'm like, oh wow, it's pretty low. But I mean, the fact that it was rated that high, I don't know.
Well, that's why I said this movie's really stunning. The story overall, like I never felt lost. And you know me enough, Pat, and you know me enough, Ty, as well. You guys know I don't like movies that go back and forth. Like I don't like when we're in one period of time and we're in a whole nother period of time. This one, it made so much sense and it was easy flowing that I didn't find myself losing interest at all.
Okay.
Like you kept enthralled through the whole film, like, okay, how are they going to help each other? You see their love form over time. Oh, every
It,
scene you're just left really loving the film.
Mhm. It was a very interesting dynamic, I think, for especially a romance movie. I mean, is that what we can consider this movie as being a romance movie?
It is a
yeah, I mean, at the end, they kind of,
they're
got
pretty much
together.
getting together. Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
mean, I even once I was done, I texted my wife. I was like, "This seems like a movie you would like because it seems like one of those like mushy gushy like romantic movies. Like it felt like a Notebook type of feeling to it. You know what I mean?
okay, yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
this movie is definitely easy to watch.
Especially the ending. I mean, we'll talk about it once we get to it, but I mean, the ending was like, oh whoa.
Oh, dude, I would love to talk about the dad here for a second because you know how I always love to give my Dick Dad award. This dad deserves that
Oh,
award.
I was thinking the same thing. What a fucking douchebag that dad is, right? I
He's
know we can roast him. Let's roast him.
Yeah, you see, you abandon your kids after
Yeah.
your passes.
Finish the miso. I was like, you fucking prick, dude. Can't even leave me any like money for like pizza or nothing. Pizza or
Yeah.
wing.
But then not only that, then he's still bossing her around, and then even considers her crazy. And it's just like that's your fucking daughter.
Well, he technically kind of knew. He was like, oh, he runs in your mother's family, your mother was like this, your grandmother was like this, and so on. So
That still don't justify you say that to your own daughter.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, if he knew about, like, what they go through, right? And then he kind of figured it wasn't his daughter. Why did he just, continue to like, nah, we're not gonna evacuate still. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
you got a
Like,
point there.
no, I'm just saying, like, that still gives him the big D award. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, it just that's why I said like even then it's like okay, what she's saying is not to. Oh, I loved how even then too, like how all the people's reactions are when they're trying to give off the emergency. They're just like, oh, we're just gonna sit here and walk calmly down the road. We're not gonna care. It's like why wouldn't you care? All this is happening and you guys aren't making a big deal about it. They're still at the party like nothing, even when the lights go out.
I don't want to say, but us Asian people, uh, if you ever been around much, you'll understand. If not Godzilla, we ain't running.
But
For
that
sure.
dad is such a prick. Even like how he, when we first see him in the movie, right? When Mitsuha comes back into her own body and she's walking down the street with her two friends, and he just comes up, like, stand up straight when you're walking. Like, when you really listen, I've been like, F you, I don't need to listen to you. Like, no, like that dad, I was just like, every time he came on screen, I wanted to punch my screen. That is how much I hated this guy. I don't like him as any character. Like I understand it's kind of like a forward progress with the character with Mitsuha, but even then, it's one of those moments. It's just like he's
Well,
still
definitely adds a layer of background to her character, right? And where she comes from and all that kind of stuff.
like I think this.
Character development.
See, this is why I said I've always heard people say too, like, do you wish we would have gotten more on Taki like we
Yeah,
did Mitsuha?
I feel like it does kind of go. It seems like it bases off of Mitsuha just a little bit more, right? Or
Well,
it seems like it kind of leans more towards her.
Well,
Mitsuha is
yeah,
the main
look what
focus of
happened.
the story.
They died.
Yeah, like Mitsuha is the main
Yeah,
I
focus
mean,
of the
I,
movie because when you really look at it, it's Taki trying to find a way to save her.
I mean, they kind of did Taki a little bit because she wanted to go to Tokyo. That's kind of like his part, the way I see it.
Well,
So
well, like even that little, like even with them, because you find out how they're really connected is through her little hair tie. That's like the first thing in the movies when you see him, like, oh, I'm Mitsuha, and she throws the thing at him, and that's what they were even saying when I was reading on it is that, it's pretty much represents the invisible red string of fate that is said to connect someone to their fated person. I actually enjoyed that. You want me to tell you the other movie I got a lot of vibes from this movie? I don't
no.
know if Ty will know, but I'm curious if Pat will know.
It's just a trivia of do you know what
No,
I know,
no,
you
no, no,
know?
no. It has Dennis Quaid and John. Oh gosh, I can never say his last name right. But it's a dad and a son talking over frequency.
Oh, Frequency. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen that movie, Ty?
I seen
Yeah, it
clips of
does
it.
kind of
I know
have
you're
a
talking about.
it does
Like
kind
when
of
they
have a
He
Frequency feel
it,
to it.
like the son is from the future.
yeah.
Then he ends up saving his dad, right?
Yeah, he
Yeah,
saved
this
his
Yeah.
dad
dad
dies in
because
a
his
fire. He's like a fire chief.
Fire, yeah.
and then he becomes a cop in the future.
Or detective.
Yeah, and then the whole
Yeah.
time then when he saves his dad, then he's wanted, he's thought to be a murderer. And so now he's trying to figure out how he can save him through that.
Hmm.
So it's a great movie. It's one of I love Dennis Quaid, and that's probably one of my favorite Dennis Quaid films of all time.
Yeah. Except, the son doesn't go into dad's body.
But that's the whole thing. Like when you really look at this movie, like granted, I agree with that, but it's like a sense of them how they're communicating through devices. Like they're giving them their play by play what happened the day before. They're doing all this. It kind of gave me that vibe too a lot because that's how they would talk through a radio and talk through things like that and what's going on, how they can say. But like this whole movie, like you really get in the feels of these two characters, Taki and Mitsuha. Like the whole time, like even the scene when he goes to her village, where it's like, and then you find out that twist. that she's been gone for now 3 years. What I'm curious to see, and we'll go to Ty here second, but Pat, what was
Yeah.
your what was your take on the twist that they were actually not from? There was years apart from each other.
I thought that kind of threw me in for a loop, and I think that's what kind of that was one thing that, and you kind of said it was a easy flowing, and for me, I think just because I only was able to get it to watch it once. I wish I got to watch this a couple times leading up to this. Typically I do on a majority of the films that we cover. Yeah, man, it's just I think the time the because it stops in what it's like an 8 year span, right? It's
Three
like
years.
13, and then they stop in 2016 and then 2021.
What?
No, no. Okay, I know what you mean because then there's more years at the end of the movie. You have
Okay.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know
Okay.
what you mean because
You
it
talking
was
about that 8 year span at the end?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I mean, it just
It was 8 years after the
Is it
comic.
8 years or 5 years?
So no, so yeah, so this is how the timeline went. 2013 was when the meteor hit. 2016 is when you get Taki's story and him trying to find or figure out this whole thing. And
yeah.
then that took place 5 years after. So because the movie does state 8 years after the comet hits. So that would have been
Yeah,
2020.
because the 3 years already happened, and I remember his coworker saying 5 years ago you were in high school, when they met up at the end. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Dude, that kid gave me so many Tenya Ida vibes. His buddy that went with him, I was like, dude, this looks so much like Tenya from My Hero. When you really look at his character, his pose, how he acts, it's
Mm.
like, no, like, please don't give me another Tenya, please. But that's why I said like but so we got Pat's feeling on that. What was your take on the twist, Ty?
Well, I watched it when it came out, so my feelings for that, my original one, I can't remember, but I'm just giving you the truth. Like you asked me something that came out 9 years ago, like, oh, how did it feel when that rock hit you? 2015. Like I don't remember. Like it hurt, I guess.
It
Well, the
hurt.
way I think of it, yeah, the way I think of it now is, I guess it's a pretty good twist, but it also makes sense when at that moment she was, oh, you should be able to see the comment. He's like, what's she talking about? He doesn't see the comment, and they stop switching bodies. So it kind of filled in the hole, and like, huh, they never really saw the comment, but she did, and he didn't.
Right.
So it's a good twist. That's how I feel now.
Right.
I can't explain myself from 9 years ago, but yeah.
Well, I feel like it probably took a little bit of processing the whole movie, right? There's so much emotion going through it. There's a lot of different elements to it, right? And I think that's what kind of throws me off a little bit too. And the time and that it flows really well, but I think it was just them going back and forth to like, okay, and then with all the time thing going on, I think I'll have to watch it, sit down, and just watch it again, and I think I'll probably understand it a little bit more. I'm not saying I didn't understand it at all. I mean,
Yeah.
I love the movie in general. It was a really enjoyable film. There
Yeah.
was just certain
Watch it with
parts.
the wife.
There was just certain parts where I was like, I think I told Brandon this before we got on air, but it's like if you don't pay attention for 2 minutes, or if you miss something, it might not make sense, or it might not connect as well. If that,
Mm.
so.
Yeah, yeah. I think I
It's
know what
just
you're talking
it's
about.
one of those movies. I mean, there's tons of movies like that. But this one, I mean, especially with it being, I mean, it's a pretty from it seems like from all the anime movies you guys have had me watch recently, this seems like the shorter one out of the bunch. If
Really?
it,
Like
it
he
felt
was
like
the shortest.
it, I know, it was like an hour and 40-ish minutes, or maybe a little bit like an hour and 45. I mean, it maybe just with the way the story was going, I think that's how you can tell it's a good movie. It is not even really basing it off of how long it took you to get through the movie. It just seems like I was just watching it, right?
Mm.
And then by the time it ends, I was like, holy shit, that's the end.
Yeah. So you pretty much wanted more, even
I,
though.
I did want more, and then that's the thing. It's like there's just certain because I think I got. Children, they distract you.
Yeah.
But I I probably just missed a few things that didn't connect as well, or didn't connect for me.
Like what?
Well, I mean, just like I was talking about the time stuff, and then going back and forth between like, oh, who's that, or who's who, and who's who. I know they switch each other. It was just more of like,
Oh, you can kind of tell it's the guy half the time. Come on,
no,
like
no, no. I'm just saying, like, it was kind of hard to keep. It was just for me, it was a little hard to keep up with their journey. Like, it seemed like for me, like it was almost going back in time a little bit, but maybe it wasn't. I don't know. It just seemed like it was the way I was watching it.
So that's why I said, like, I understand where you're coming from because I remember that's kind of how I felt when I first watched it because I was like, okay, what am I missing, kind of thing, or what am I
Well,
seeing
and,
here?
and I think me watching it, like for the just I watched it the one time, and I think when I watched it, I was expecting it to be because I kind of looked at the general, the description of the movie, and it felt like it was, and especially with you guys mentioning it or bringing the movie up to me, and I think you kind of told me about this, Brandon. You told me about this movie before I watched it, right? I mean, we talked about covering it and everything, but in my head, I think I got overworked up of like it was supposed to be a super super serious movie, and if you didn't pay it, like it felt like I think I got myself worked up to that point where going into it as I watched it. I just took it in a little bit differently. But I mean, like I said, I still love the movie. If I don't, I'm also that with, I'm also that just with movies in general. If I miss something, I miss something and it won't connect. So that's the thing too. And I'm still getting new to this anime thing too. It's different. It's hard to, not hard, but like it's just different for me to,
it's a different flow from regular movies.
absolutely. It's a different flow with how the animation goes, everything.
Hmm.
It's supposed
It's
to
Different story, different vibes, feeling.
Absolutely. It's and with anime too, a lot of it's not always just, realistic stories. A lot of it is fantasy stuff too, and a lot
well,
of different elements play in and all that stuff.
well, like I think that's where like I think that's why I like anime films, and I think that's when we did Kiki. I didn't really give it a good review, like but again, you got to remember it wasn't for me. It wasn't made for adults. It was made for
Yeah.
kids. But I think for us too is that I don't like films that are somewhat black and white. And I think anime films actually do a really good job in making you think. We talked about that with Spirit Away and the symbolism of all the characters around her, right?
Mhm.
We've talked about a little bit about that in Kiki. We've talked about that in Kira heavily. And we're talking about it here because a lot of stuff is like you are set it's kind of like a mystery and a love story, right? You're trying to figure all this out, like how is this all working? And I think they do a really good job this way because when you really see the, it's not so much you're watching Taki try to solve this, you're trying to solve it yourself. You're trying to understand the stories of how both characters are going the way they are. And it wasn't until that 45-minute mark when you get that twist that you go, huh, how does this work? And then you find out it was the little tie that they have this little fate, those they're pretty much their fates were attached at that point. But then you start questioning, okay, how does she meet him in the train 3 years prior?
Mhm.
Like was this something that she was already in the works of doing? There's a lot of things that go. That's why I think that's a problem. And I think I talked with
I,
Ty. Go
I
ahead.
mean, they kind of show a flashback for like 2 seconds of it, so it kind of gives you a hint like something happened. So
But what I mean, I think that's why I don't like time travel stories as much because sometimes you get lost in them, and it's like, okay, how does this affect later on?
That might have been my feel on that whole like rant I just went on. That's probably simplistic of the way you just said it. That's probably how I felt. I got so worked up in the whole time loop thing to where I was like, what am I missing? Like,
But
well,
am I supposed to?
I didn't think of that when I watched it. For you two, I don't know why it went a different way. For me, it went exactly how the movie went for me. Like I'm just watching, I'm like, yep, that makes sense. Yep, that makes sense.
you want me to
You
tell
guys
you,
are like, why is this happening?
like, I think that was my first
Why?
time. But
Like,
I think this is, and I think maybe I can talk from experience because I know, like Pat just said too, this was kind of his first, like, this is like his opening to anime, period.
well, he also did say he took it as a serious movie, so that's your fault for making it seem like it's a serious movie.
Well,
I always tell you, and you always, like you need to go in as an open-minded, right?
I did try to tell him that. I told him it was a good movie, but it's a movie that you can't like to me. But again, that's how you and I view things differently. This is a movie that I knew I got lost in once I
I could
found out
tell.
the
I
twist.
could tell.
But now rewatching it over the years and now rewatching it for this, I didn't feel that way. I think for me, and this is where maybe this is why I'm pitching it for Pat and then the defense for him. I feel like with Pat, this is your opening to anime. Period. You don't have a lot of experience with anime, and there's nothing wrong with that.
What
I
you
mean,
mean? He
yeah,
was Spirit Away.
No, but what I mean is, it's like okay, he didn't have a strong background, like I don't always have a strong background.
Yeah, but if you're starting your anime opening and was Spirit Away, this should be like almost like an
so I
easy
think
walk.
Yeah,
so I think also with it was just with anime.
I'm just saying,
Or
like
my first like discovery with anime was just the Studio Ghibli movies or
I feel
Ghibli.
like this one is one of the more simple ones, and you got to take and you're like wham wham, compared to Spirit Away, which is like if that was one of your first anime movies, right? That one would have definitely confused you at first.
I'm gonna write that in my diary and say, don't take the movie so wamp wamp next time. So I'll have to, I'll have to make
I'm
sure.
just saying, this movie is so
No, those are
simple,
words to
and you
live
guys
by.
are like,
Don't
I
take it
don't
so
get
wamp
why
wamp. I
this
love it.
time travel happens.
You need to
I
get that
think
on a t-shirt.
I think it was like I said, like I think how they started the film, it kind of was weird how it started because, and this is why I think that's where I got mixed up. It's because when they have that little flashback scene, but then all of a sudden you go right to the twist, like, or they switch bodies. It's like, okay, like when you see her, like when she's grabbing, like I'm like, what the fuck, kind of thing. Like, why are we starting with this? But then within the first 5-10 minutes, then it kind of like,
Uh,
okay, that makes sense now
to
because
be
now
fair, if you watch the trailer before the movie, you understand. So maybe that's why it didn't hit you guys in the
I
right
didn't watch the
direction.
trailer. Yeah,
I'm just saying, yeah, if you guys didn't watch the trailer and that's why you guys just balls deep in like going raw in the movie, that explains why you guys are confused. All right.
you telling us we raw dogged it, Ty?
Yeah, I'm telling you, Raw Dog. Yeah,
This bad movie. I enjoy this movie. It's one of my favorite anime films. Period.
yeah. I'm just saying, like,
And I'm not. I
you
think it's
guys
just.
were just confused at first, in some parts too.
But here's a fun fact. I'm curious, and we'll kind of go back to the conversation. I don't remember, or if I don't say it now. So their friend. Um.
Which friend?
Okay, I'm trying to pull up the name.
The guy or the girl? Taki,
Mitsuha.
Mitsuha. Okay.
Mitsuha's guy,
Takamichinoku.
Mitsuha's guy friend.
Yeah.
Katsuhuki or
Yeah, yeah,
Katsuhuki.
yeah, yeah,
Thought you guys would catch that.
No.
yeah, yeah.
Do you know who voices him in the dub version? And somebody we've met, Ty.
Yeah.
That's Fat Gum.
Okay.
That's
I'm
yeah.
like, we met a lot of people. I'm like,
Well, I'm trying like
at least
Kyle
almost 100 people we met in the last 2 years.
so Kyle Hibbert. We've got to meet multiple times at multiple cons. One of the nicest guys we've met. He he's the voice of Fat Gum. When I was listening, I was like, dude, that voice sounds familiar. And then I start listening to it again and again, and I'm like, that's Fat Gum. Like that's got to be. And I went and confirmed before we jumped on the podcast. Like that is Fat Gum.
I see why you have to mention it. Just to let you guys know, Fat Gum is one of Brandon's biggest hero
Oh
because
yeah,
he's the only one he can cosplay.
I can cosplay as exactly. You damn right. I'm doing it. I already got most of it. I'm ready to go for that. I'm gonna go around in videos dressed up like Fat Gum. Just wait. I'll be doing it. Uh, but that's why I said movie. Movie's good. Now let's go into it, Pat. What were points that you? Let's go into this first. What are points you did not like about this film?
Well, I kind of just alluded to it a few minutes ago. I think in general, with time travel movies, it can get a little confusing and be a little difficult to keep up with at times. Aside from that, I think I think the movie can be presented as almost perfect in some ways. And I mean that in just the way the story is told so beautifully between the two characters. I think you don't see a lot of movies where you learn about a character through another character,
I see what you're
right?
saying.
Yeah, I just think it's this movie is a super unique dynamic when it comes to that. But yeah, I mean, I just really didn't have any dislikes to it, man. This movie was good. It was, like I said, it's almost perfect movie in my eyes. Just the way it flows. It's not a long movie, I think, and it was a quick. It like, and we just alluded to it a few minutes ago. I just felt like I was just enthralled to the point where it just didn't seem like it was taking forever. You know what I mean? And then by the time it ended, I was like, oh shit, that's the end. You know? But no, like with the whole time travel thing we talked about, it's just like you can take it or leave it when it comes to that kind of thing. Um, I don't know. It just depends on, I guess, on the plot surrounding it. But yeah, no, other than that, I thought it was an excellent movie.
And that's why I said like this movie for me, it was I kind of was in the same boat with Pat for a little bit, but I think I watched it twice the year it came out, or when it came was released to the US. I watched it a couple times. And the second time it made more sense. And then rewatching it for this, it's like every time you watch this film, it seems like there are times where you can pick more out of it. It's like, huh, okay, I didn't pay attention to that the first time. Now that makes a little bit more sense.
I think that's what Pat meant by like if you don't pay attention, you'll miss something.
Right. And I agree with that. Like I was the same way. But I think for me it was that sense of I was always intrigued watching it knowing I was going to find something new. It's not like Akira where you can watch something and every time you watch it you're going to see something every time.
Yeah.
Hmm.
This is a movie that it's pretty self-explanatory. It's pretty easygoing. There's not a lot of violence, so if you guys don't want to watch,
There's no violence at all.
it's not Akira fan.
Speaking of that, the intro to this movie fucking gave me Akira vibes totally because I didn't know what I was watching. Like, you know, that first thing where the meteor's coming down, I was like, oh, I've seen this before.
But let's go into it. Pat, what were things that you actually did enjoy about this
Well, yeah. So, I mean, we alluded earlier to the whole TV show feel. And what I was thinking when I mean that is I kind of liked how this movie felt like a TV show. And I know that sounds kind of weird, but
film? Hell yeah, it does. No, I'm just messing.
no, like it kind of it felt at some time, and I'm not saying the whole movie did, but it felt kind of like a reality show at some point. Where it kind of with that, especially like the one part where they find out that they're in different bodies, and then it has like cuts to that scene where like it's like Japanese punk pop. The music is playing, right? Those songs, and especially in the intro, it just feels like, especially the way that everything's moving, it just feels like those cutscenes in between reality shows. I don't know how to explain it. I've seen enough reality TV in my life to know what it looks like.
Okay.
Um,
I think I know
but
what
you'll
you're talking
have
about.
to, yeah, and especially the intro, like within the first 5 minutes of the movie, it's
Hmm.
like the same kind of music and the same exact intro or same exact movement of everything. I'm like, dude, this feels like I feel like I'm watching a reality TV show. Dude, the app that I watched on even was like skip intro because it felt like I was watching. I don't know if it does that with all of them,
Yeah,
but
and that's what I was meaning more too, because I watched mine off Crunchyroll and it said the same thing where you can skip the intro.
I'm like, I'm
And
not skipping this beautiful
Yeah,
song.
that's why I don't watch Crunchyroll no more.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's a,
2.5 minutes worth of ads every 5 minutes. It was
oh,
awesome.
see, I don't even have that. I have it with no ads.
Yeah, it was just
Wow, this guy's paying. Wow.
Yeah.
well, we got a baller on a budget
Wow.
over here. Yeah,
Wow.
balling $1 billion.
Wow.
No.
You have sharks with freaking laser beams attached to the freaking heads? Meaning me.
Yeah, but that's why I said that's why I said that I don't have any gripes about the film.
He gripes.
And I know I've been saying that for the last few, but anime I really have not had a lot of gripes about other than Kiki. And it wasn't even a bad gripe about Kiki. It was just a sense of it wasn't made for me. It's not a movie for me. This movie, I could sit here and rewatch and not care. Like it's just a really beautiful story. I really enjoy the story. I love the two. Like I even love when my favorite scene in this whole film is actually within the first like 10 minutes of the film, right? when both of them go back to their normal bodies and they're like, what do you mean I wasn't acting like myself? Like, you can tell that they have no clue of what's going on. And like the whole time, like, even how Mitsuha is sitting there, like, the whole time, like, what are you talking about? Like, I was here. I don't know what you're saying. Like, or how the sister's like, at least you're not playing with your movies this time, you know? It's like, hey, what's breakfast is ready, kind of thing. And then, yeah, she's acting normal, kind of thing. And you just see how her story progresses through that whole scene. Then you go to Taki, and Taki's kind of the same way, where you find out that she's trying to hit on this girl for him to get him to actually like her,
Mhm.
you know, and start something with them. Like, it's just a fun story overall. I didn't really have a lot of gripes. Like, even the scenes where they're writing notes to each other, like, who are you, kind of thing, or on, like, in her notebook, it's what it states and all that. It was actually really good and how they did. And then they start kind of getting to know, okay, this is what's happening. Now we got to make notes for each other, leave notes what happened the day before and everything. And the whole time they're like, oh yeah, I did this. And they're like, oh, I hate you for doing something stupid like that. Like, how one of my favorite scenes, like, I take it as they're talking about me. And the one girl, and she like kicks over the desk. I was like, and she goes, oh, I hope he didn't do something stupid like that. It was just those moments you could just see how they're, that's where I think I agree with Ty in some ways. Like, when you have those moments, like, you know who's who. You know, there are points where it shows you, like, how Mitsuha is more shy and more introverted in some ways. Taki's not. Taki will do things, but Taki's introverted in his own ways. He's more outspoken. He's going to tell you as it is, you know, or he's just not gonna sit there and allow things to happen. And that's why I say you can see the key differences of who's who, you know. But yeah, that first 5-10 minutes, yeah, you're not going to see that very often. You're kind
Mhm.
of questioning, like, okay, what's going on, kind of thing.
How did you guys feel about the illustration in this? Because I was gonna say I really enjoyed like the colors in the way that they were kind of like more warmer colors. It seemed like the effect had like this kind of, how do I say it, kind of like a fuzzy feel to, like there was certain things that were kind of fuzzier or like
Mhm.
smearing. I don't
Yeah,
know. It's kind of, sorry. I thought
like blurred out and whatnot, kind of.
Like, I was in there when he said fuzzy, I'm like, oh, I feel so fuzzy
Oh,
inside.
I feel fuzzy and so warm. I feel so warm and fuzzy. No, I think it just gave meaning to some of the scenes a little bit more. Like I loved how, man, and like I said, one time seeing this, where is it the grandma or they're leading him through like that meadow? It's
It's the
like
grandma leading him.
it is okay, yes, okay. That whole sequence was really like the wilderness, how it kind of civilization kind of cuts off and then it's just
Yeah.
wilderness. Like it's kind of cool. I like
Mhm.
that. No, good shit on the illustration. I really enjoyed that. Or just, the artwork, everything was really neat.
Say
I
good
think
shit on the illustration.
what's that?
Say good shit on the illustration.
I said
Yeah.
good shit on the illustration.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking the same thing, Barry. Now, like, yep, quote that good shit on the illustration. Yeah.
Good shit on the
Uh,
illustration.
you can quote it. You can quote it, baby. Uh,
Good.
no, I was gonna loop back to the music. I thought was fantastic too. The music for this
Yes.
was really good. And I got those punk pop music that I was
Mhm.
alluding to,
Even
which
like the score of the movie is really good
yes,
too.
it
That's why I
is.
said, like, it doesn't even have to be the pop songs. It was, for me, I really enjoyed the score for the film. Would I listen to it on a regular basis? No. But was it good? Yeah, it wasn't bad at all. I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. It's a great film overall, and that's what I said, with the music in it. It tells a story too. It really gets you in that feel of the story and what it's all about. You know, but let me ask you this: what did you guys think about the grandma kind of being the one, like, you're not Mitsuha?
Well, the dad kind of like gave it away by saying, "Oh, you just like your mom and your grandma."
No, but when the grandma, remember when she comes back and they're
Yeah.
sitting there, when the one girl, or when her sister goes off and she goes,
Mhm.
"You're not Mitsuha."
Well, she also said, I've been watching you the past couple months. I could tell by your behavior
Right.
when you're not yourself. So,
Like, are you glad it was her the one that call her out on
Well, and that guy be the dad. He barely sees her. Hey, stop slapping. You're not my daughter. Like,
it. Dude, that whole scene when she goes in there and grabs him by the tie, I was like, that's Taki.
he.
Yeah, it's Taki. But it's like one of the best scenes of that whole thing where he sits there and he's like, not who, you're not Mitsu. But it's like, how do you know who's who? And that's the whole thing. And I agree at that point because when you really, it's like you said, you don't even know your own daughter. So how do you know who she is?
Yeah.
Well, he kind of knew enough to know that wasn't his daughter at the time. So I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I know what you mean, but like,
He's a dick.
okay, all right. I can agree with that one. Okay.
What was it? How did we say it on DCAU talkers at one point? Mayor Hill's a dick. He
Yeah,
gets a Dick Dad Award. Yeah,
yeah,
this guy's
yeah,
right on.
yeah,
He gets a
yeah,
Dick Dad Award too.
yeah. Oh,
But
Dick Award. That's the newest award here on J4F. So we'll make that official now. So whenever we come across an asshole dad, he gets the.
and the sad thing is Patrick's the only dad here on the podcast right now.
Well,
I've been hanging out with a lot of people on TikTok, and if you want to give him the big a-hole award, give him a starfish.
chocolate starfish,
Give him a starfish. Yeah.
a hot dog flavored water.
You thirsty? You thirsty?
Chocolate starfish.
Oh man.
But like,
Good old Limp
a good
Bizkit.
point here too with the score. The Japanese band Radwimps worked closely with the director Makoto Shinkai on the script and story to create the complementary music in the movie. The process of them working together led to the initial script changing. So all the music you hear in that film, they had to change the story up at certain points just to fit the movie. Like it shows you how much of a music effect they had in it. Like this movie, there's really nothing to really even gripe about. Like Ty, let's go to you. I know we kind of skipped over you there too. What do you like, and what's a scene you did not like in the film? If you had to go,
Well, uh, you don't really hate anything. Like it's kind of like a Patrick. It's almost a perfect movie, you know? It's definitely a film where your whole family can watch, you know. That's what I like about it. It's like I said earlier, it's an easygoing movie. There is nothing that can like really take away from how good of a movie this is, you know. You can sit down, watch it, understand, like for me at least, you know, I understood everything the first time. I watched it multiple times, same year like Brandon.
mm-hmm.
But you know, just everything about it is like
Now, was this when this movie came out? Like when you saw it, Ty, like or around that time when.
online. I watched it online.
Oh snap! We got a pirate over here. No, I'm joking. Uh, like, was it a big deal? Like, was it a big talk of like when it came?
Oh,
Oh shit, you have to like for all the anime people, like, oh, you have to
it
see
it it was definitely advertised really well.
with the
Well,
marketing for it and everything. Yeah.
yeah, like it was like, oh yeah, like I think at the time there was another movie around that time. Silent Voice was also around that time too. So those two movies were kind of like heavily advertised to watch. It was like, oh, you gotta watch this.
I
Yeah.
remember. I think that's when. What was it? Well, that's when the school was closing when this movie came out originally. I remember Ty was the one that kind of talked me into watching it.
Which one?
Your name.
Yeah, okay.
You were the one that kind of talked me into it. That's right when the school was. We used to go to school.
Well, school closed 2015.
Yeah,
I've been cursed by our substitute teacher.
2016.
Was it 16? I don't know. I felt like it was 15.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we
Uh,
graduated in 15 with our associates. The school,
well, see, there you go.
but
I
no,
still haven't.
but but that's
How's that funny?
it's just the way you presented it afterward.
What? I still haven't.
It's
I paid money for it, but it's useless.
pretty much at this point. But that's why I said it's just. I remember watching it. I enjoyed it still. I even though I had my confusion with it, I still enjoyed the film, and I think that's what intrigued me to go back and rewatch it, and then rewatch it a lot better.
Yeah, I think it's because, like I said, you guys didn't watch the trailer.
Yeah,
That's why when you guys just went right
I
into it,
blame it on you because you didn't show me the trailer for it. You were just like, "Go watch this," and I'm like, "Okay."
I don't remember. I can't defend 2016 Ty. All right.
Now, I'm curious to see what you guys think about this. Okay, I had to go look this up again because I had to go convert it. How much do you think the budget for this film was? And it was yen, but I do have the math conversion to US.
All right, I'm just gonna do old-fashioned doll hairs. I'm gonna go ahead and say that
It's gonna
budget.
shock you when you hear it.
It's a high or low?
It's lower than most.
Less than 10 mil
Millions.
American dollars?
It's still in the mills, but it's not.
Yeah, I say 10 mil then.
I was gonna say 13.
Okay, so I'll do the yen and then I'll equate it. The yen was 370 million yen.
Jesus, that's not.
Am I the X price?
The US dollar amount converted according to what Google states is roughly $2,590 or $590,492.10.
Damn.
I know. People need to pay attention. You know, need a lot of movies to make a good movie.
Well, that's what I said. This is roughly what 2.6 million.
Okay, so how much did they make overall?
So overall, according to what it says here on IMDb, opening weekend in the U.S. and Canada alone was $1,813,781. It grossed worldwide $405,000,000, $340,000, 700 or $340,703. I'll get it out one way or another.
Yeah.
405 or million, $340,703. So it made a lot of money from what it was originally. And this, to mind you, this, like we said, this being the only anime film other than what would be later on Demon Slayer to be the most like gross 10 billion. That's amazing. And it wasn't Ghibli. It was the first movie to do it.
Why does Demon Slayer sound like a video game? That's an anime? Is that a show?
Well, they do have a video game, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, it's right here. That's the 4 main characters right there. It's a good anime. I would recommend that anime to you. Knowing you, but I know Ty will have others.
Is that the Beatles? Supposed to be like the Beatles album? Like their Abbey Road?
They have
Yeah.
this company
Yeah.
actually has a lot of them where it's like that. They have one with Attack on Titan. They have quite a few of them like this. But I like the colors of the Demon Slayer one, so I picked it up. But that's why I said this movie is just really. I was kind of like, out of all the movies we're covering, this and Kiki were the two that I was kind of like, okay, now I'm a little older. Am I going to react to it differently? And Kiki, I did. This one, I still didn't. This movie still holds up. It's still a good movie. And it now being close to 10 years old as well. It's still a great film. I would watch this again. Like it's just it's a fun story. And like just seeing, like, you don't find yourself like I think the first time watching it, you're like, I know Pat and I, we kind of were thinking, okay, what are we missing? Is there something we're not seeing?
Yeah.
But now it's like it's just a cute romantic comedy film. Like when you really get into it, and it's also kind of a drama-filled film. You know, when you really get into the sense of it. Okay, so let's go over this. What was the one point that actually made you guys laugh the most in this film? Like, I'll tell you mine is when they're going back and forth, like, well, you need to stop working extra shifts. Well, I'm doing it because you're feeding your face with a whole bunch of sugar. Like, it's in there, like, it was like when you see those scenes of them going back and forth, learning each other and how they are. It's just a fun scene. You know, like, you're the reason why I'm kicking up all these shifts because you're feeding your face with every little thing that you see. Like, and how she said, well, it's going in your body. It's not like I'm actually enjoying it, you know, kind of thing. It's
I think that's what I mean. I feel like that's all the funny moments seem to come from like the interactions between their bodies taking over, right? I mean, we talked about it, the whole like when they're discovering each other's body, you know what I mean? When I saw it, I kind of got a chuckle because it is. I mean, like the whole concept of it, you know, the fact that you're switching spirits essentially. I mean, it's like the whole Freaky
Mhm.
Friday thing. You do the same thing in Freaky Friday, right? That's
Yeah, but they don't have a montage.
Yeah,
yeah,
It's like a day
yeah.
on a Friday, one
yeah.
day.
This is like Freaky 8 years.
It doesn't say like freaking weekend, it's just freaking Friday.
Yeah, they're like Freaky almost decade. Yeah, I got you.
He is
Like, oh man,
freaking 8 years.
Yeah,
oh shit, it's almost Friday. Had to get
chance of
freaky.
meteor shower.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna change again. I that's what I said. This one, what was it? What about you, Ty? What's the one scene that makes you laugh the most in this film?
Well, probably the best one is that one because like the rest of the part of the movie is more just like um discovering like what's going on, like um him as the girl going up to the mountain with the grandma and sister, putting the wine, it's a pretty chill. Like this, you can't really find a lot of laughter part, without that little montage, is what I'm saying. Like when she's back in the body and she's like dropping the wine down, like, there's not a lot of funny part, is what I'm saying. Like that is probably the best part, the best funny part of the whole film.
Yeah, I mean that's the only time I openly kind of chuckled. Like other than that, it's a pretty serious like romantic movie.
Yeah. You're pretty much like throwing like I don't know how to explain it.
Okay, let me
You,
ask you this, guys.
you're
Okay,
you're pushing it in a corner.
okay, let me ask you this. Like outside the two main characters, I have a couple more questions like that. Outside the two main characters, who did you find yourself going, I like this character?
The dad, no, I'm joking.
I was gonna say great human being.
You shut up.
Salt of the earth, dude. Couldn't have been nicer.
Uh,
I kind of like the grandma. Her guidance is
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
I'm trying to remember the one I enjoy. I don't remember names very well, so
Okay, what do they look like?
well, it's a
Give
girl.
us
It's the
give
girl
us
that
shit.
she's trying to set him up with.
The coworker. Just say the
Yeah.
coworker.
Oh, but she has a name. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I know she got a name. What's your name? The coworker, what's your name? Dude, just Google
I
character.
am. What do you think I'm doing?
Oh, yeah, let's see.
Oh,
Um, Miki.
Oh, Mickey, you're so fine. You're so fine. You blow my mind.
Yeah.
Okudera. There, yeah, Mika Okudera. Yeah, Mika, I would say is probably one of mine because you can see the whole time she can see the differences in them too, but she can't say what's going on. And the fact that she's still willing to go on this journey with him too to really find out everything,
Not
including with
really. She just said she got a feminist side I didn't know about.
like even but you can see like even when they go on their date, right? She's like, it seems like you're two different people. She was even realizing some stuff that was not right.
Yeah, but she wasn't like directly, digging deeper what you're saying. I get what you're saying,
But
but she wasn't like
right.
digging deep.
But she even went with him on that venture because she felt like it was originally like he liked somebody else.
Well, yeah, that's girl instinct, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But like even then, like how just their not their because they doesn't turn out to be a relationship because at the end of the movie you get that turn too where it's like she comes back to the city or to Tokyo, but you see that she's married.
Yeah.
So so it was like, okay, then at that point you kind of get a sense more like, oh, is she really alive? It's Mitsuha really still alive. And that's the best part of this film is like with her, I just feel like she sets up a lot of stuff for Taki that's really learning more about himself too. And I think that's what I like about it more. Mitsuha and her really kind of like point him in that direction.
Mhm.
And I really like that. That's why I said Mika would probably be one of them that's up there for me in character wise. I like the grandma. The dad would not make my top list. Dad's a dick. Still,
Number one, dad.
yeah, we're on
A Dick
dad.
Award.
The dick award. But okay, let me ask you this then. What scene Like when you think of this movie, what is the one scene you gravitate to the most?
Okay, so at the end where they both felt each other's presence, right?
Mhm.
And so Taki runs up to the mountain. She's waking up like, where the hell am I, right? And then like they get to the part where like they sense each other, but they don't feel it until it got to like a certain shadowy point. Then they got to see each other. You know, it got to the point where like they could touch, hug each other and stuff like that. And then it all just vanished after.
Mhm.
Just like bam.
When that scene happened, I thought, oh, that's when the meteor happened. Like it still didn't work. Like I was like, that son of a like
No, actually, you're wrong. The meteor didn't hit because if they did hit, then she wouldn't have run
well,
towards all
I
that
know,
stuff.
but when that scene happened, I thought the way because when I first initially watched it, I remember that scene because I was like, damn, she's still not like they work did all this work and it still didn't work.
In my mind, I'm like, why don't he just take another sip of the wine?
But that's why I said it's just mine. I would say the train scene when they see each other through the windows there
And that
because
happens
Oh,
on a couple different occasions too, right? Throughout the whole movie.
yeah. So like yeah, because it happens like when you find out she's going to Tokyo, right? And you see him actually like face to face.
Yeah.
When you have a couple moments, but the one I'm meaning is like right at the end of the movie
yeah, the ending.
through the windows and they
Yeah.
see each other. And then that what leads them to see each other on the stairs. And I agree, like every time I saw them like when they're walking by the bridge and they walk past each other, I'm like, it's like there's like a presence there, but they don't know how to act on it. And that's what about you, Pat? What's the one scene you gravitate to the most in this movie?
So I really enjoyed, and I think it was kind of like I don't have it often too, but like a kind of like a breathless moment. Like I was like, huh? I was like, when he's going all the way up to the mountain to meet her, they finally meet for like a couple seconds.
Mhm.
He's like, write my name, like the whole write my name on our hands so I won't forget you. And then when he's in the process of doing that, she disappears. And I like how like there's this nice like
No, actually, she disappeared because they
no,
swapped body.
that's what I'm saying. But she was writing it on her, he was writing it on his hand, and she disappears,
No,
right?
she was right. They swapped bodies when they saw each other, so they
He
swapped back.
yeah, he
Right, because we're all SWAT. God damn it. Well,
Yeah, that's what I was
the
trying to.
physical
Yeah,
she disappears.
yeah,
yeah.
The physical
yeah.
she disappeared. Yeah,
No,
yeah.
they swapped bodies, so it's actually her that disappears. She had the pen and she disappeared. Is what I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah.
I got you.
Okay, yeah.
Kind of like, oh shit. Like it was, I don't know, it felt like it kind of felt like the climax of the movie a little bit. Like maybe the whole meteor shower part two. Did I say meteor shower? Is it not a meteor shower?
That's literally where I thought, oh, don't tell me they're ending this movie right where it is. Like, don't end it like that.
Pat over here,
You know
like, I can't
what?
wait for
It's
episode
funny
two.
because when that part happened, I was like, I am totally okay with this movie ending right now. If it ended like that, that'd have been like, that would have
Do
been
that
so,
again. How would it sound?
I would have been like,
That's gonna be Brandon's ringtone.
Ah,
uh, uh.
but that's what I said. That now let's go into our rankings. I think this is a great way to kind of start leading out into our end of our discussion here. Ty, where are you ranking on the scale of 1 to 10 names?
9.5 names.
9.5 names. Okay.
9.95 names.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay. Pat, what about you on a scale of 1 to 10 names?
This is just off of one watch, people. One watch. All right. Keep that in mind.
A 10.
Going with 8.8 names.
That's up.
No, that's pretty good for a first timer. Like, watching for the first time.
I think so.
That's pretty high.
Thank you.
Watch it. We'll
So
ask
am I.
him the month. We'll ask him the month again. He'll watch it again. You know what? A 6.9. I can't
Yeah,
get
fuck this movie, dude. Yeah, it's garbage. No, I'm
Uh,
joking.
how
Uh,
many time I gotta remind them of their names? That's
like I
Taki.
said earlier too, it's like a perfect. It is kind of a perfect movie. It's just like it's an easy watch. It really is an easy watch. I think it's just there are certain things you do have to pay attention to, and if you do miss it, you might not get it all the way. And I think I just think that it's got a nice beginning, middle, and end to it. So no, it's good and it's not super long. I never felt like, man, this movie's dragging. This movie needs to wrap it up. It all around really good story. Romantic story too. I didn't think going into this when you guys told me I didn't look into like what kind of genre of movie this was going to be or anything. I was just like, I'm gonna look up the plot. Cool. Let's watch it. I didn't think it was gonna be romance. Like it legitimately is a romance movie, right? It's kind of like that's your typical. I don't know. What am I trying to compare it to right now? We can throw out all the great romantic movies, right? You got the Note, Titanic, when Harry met. I was gonna say when Mary met Sally.
When Mary Met Sally,
Mary met Hallie. Yeah, this dyslexia kicking in right there. Um,
but this, if we did a list of top 5 like romance movies, this would make it up there on my list. Like it's a good romance story.
it's good. It is good.
Like but that also is coming from the guy that doesn't really care for romance movies.
Yeah, you need to lighten up a little bit, man. No, I'm joking.
Um,
You need to let the love into your heart.
I have a cold heart, fans.
Yeah, you do. You're a slithering snake.
You need something to warm up your icy cold heart, Brandon.
He's as cold as ice, yeah. Oh wow.
It's cold as ice. Duh,
We're willing to sacrifice our love, yeah.
duh. My ranking, I'm gonna give it a 9.2. This is a good film.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
It is a movie that I do enjoy watching. After, because like I said, I watched it when it first came out. I watched it a couple times, and I rewatched it just for this, and I forgot how much I actually enjoyed the film. But now coming from a new sense, it's like, okay, now I understand this a lot better than I did 10 years ago.
I didn't forget. I never forget. No, I'm joking.
Yeah.
I forget a lot.
I never forget anything. But this movie is just a good movie. I could sit here and watch it. It's not just targeted towards one, or female or male. It's a story for both. And I think it's just a good story and deserves to be watched by everybody. This one's just like, for it to be snubbed the way it was at the Oscars, I just find it a joke. Like, it really is. That whole couple years there was just snub after snub. Because that was, I think, a year before Adam Sandler got snubbed for Uncut Gems. Yeah, he got snubbed. People were pissed.
Oh yeah. Well, no, the fact that he even get nominated for that was insane. Like,
yeah. Well, there was
if there was going to be a movie that he got nominated for,
that's the movie. Like, that was a good movie for him. And
Punch Drunk Love is pretty good, but yeah.
Uncut Gems, he went over.
Oh yeah. No, it was.
Ty, have you ever seen that movie?
Yeah.
You like him in that movie?
Oh yeah. It's a different, Adam Sandler.
It's a different.
It's definitely a different Adam Sandler.
Yeah. It's a Safdie brothers movie, and they do things a little bit different. Like the whole soundtrack is insane. Like have you seen Good Time with Robert Pattinson and one of the Safdie brothers? That's a good movie too. They're kind of got a very similar feel to it.
I'll have to get you to watch that one, Ty. I think you'll like that one.
You want me to watch a lot of shit.
Yeah, I know. We're going to get you over here and have a watch party, man. I'll make some pizza rolls and we'll sit here and we'll watch movies. But no, this is a great way to end out the podcast. We want to thank Ty for coming on and talking your name with us and enjoying this film with us and talking about what he loved and he didn't love. You can check us both out on Comic Talkers. Even Pat joins us on a couple conversations here and there to help us out. So go check out that podcast with us. As always, you can check out J4F Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at J4F Podcast. You can also check us out on Spotify and YouTube. Remember, if you like this content and you want more of it, please like this video, hit the subscribe button, and hit the bell notification so you never miss an episode. And also check us out for other great movie conversations. Without further ado, I turn it over to Patty B to take us out.
Yeah, thank you guys for everything. Thank you, Ty, as always, joining us. It's always fun having you on, bro. Thank you, B-Dog. And remember, we do it just for flicks.